We're going up and down, over and over. It's the same old thing. Up and down, over and under.
Awesome, Ray. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, sir. I'm pumped.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun prepping for this one. I got to be honest.
What was your prep?
Dude, well, so it depends. I try and dig into everything I can get my hands on, and the list usually, right? There's usually like a bit of time in between when we like commit to doing this. But I feel like this is just so indicative of, to your point, just getting shit done.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, hey, do you want to come on the show? You're like, yep. Does tomorrow work? I was like, yeah. Let's do it.
You got to look at who the reference was. I mean, when Gunter P says, vouches for me, fuck yeah, I'm going to step up and do it, man. If I didn't, I'd probably hear something from him. So, good stuff.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, and so in some of my my recon prior to this, did you just sit down with Dan Severin?
I did, and Dan Fry. So I was asked to go out on their podcast. It's Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. And I'll tell you, and they do it different than everybody else. And they cut out little clips. I was their first guest. I know Danny Trejo's going on and a bunch of other just who's. I don't know why the fuck they picked me. But Don is 55 and Dan is like 61. And Dan is very mobile still. Don's back is a wreck. But I mean, obviously, he is the predator. And they're both really big men. Like, I don't know if you saw the picture how big they are compared to me. And I'm a big dude. They're monsters. They're monsters.
Well, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Yes, I do. I love Dan Severin.
And anyway, Don kept talking shit about me because I'm only 5'7", but I'm 205. So I'm a wide guy. I'm a big wrestler. And he just kept talking shit. And they do it different. They literally flew me out. And the night before, we went to Don's house. And Dan drove down. And we had dinner. We had steaks and we smoked cigars. And he just keeps the short jokes on and on and on. Wow. And finally, I just had enough of it. I was like, you know what? Fuck you, old man. And I didn't know how it was going to go, but he laughed. I was like, thank God. Because when I did it, even Dan sat back. Dan just listened. And it was like, oh, here we go. But I have nothing but respect. They're both great guys. We had an amazing time. We keep in touch. They'll just call me, and, I don't know if you saw the first thing. It was like he introduced me as the world's shortest seal, and I was just like, here we go. They're great, but what you see is what you get. I mean, they are. Don is an animal. Dan is very reserved, but he's always thinking. And like, I actually did a little wrestling with him. I was a big wrestler. But it puts shit in perspective when Dan Severin grabs a hold of you. Even at 61, man, you're just like, wow. He's a beast. Oh, that's why he is called the Beast.
Right.
So
So I was telling you a little bit before. We're probably more in the market for a minivan than anything else. I've got 3 young kids. My youngest is 14, about to be 15 months.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of sleepless nights this last year. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I was doing was if I wake up at like 2, and if I know I'm not going back to bed, I can't lay there. I'll go nuts. And so I would go downstairs, and with ESPN Plus, it's amazing. They have all the old UFC fights.
Oh.
So I started going back to like UFC 1 back, you know what I mean, when you had sumo wrestlers fighting karate.
And those guys were
and Gracie's just murdering everyone.
Man, they didn't get
none.
Yeah, they just fought.
Well, and then like we got to like the Dan Severin era. Because I was like, does anyone beat Gracie? Like I actually, it was a little bit before my time. I didn't know how all the early ones ended. Mm-hmm. And then like Severin comes into the picture, and I was just like, oh man, like this might be the guy who can kind of take the title. And so, yeah, it was just, anyways, I loved seeing that you were working with him. I love seeing that he still looks massive today.
They are, I mean, like when they shake, I have a big hand too. When they shake your hand, you don't realize how small of a man you are until you're next to them. And, but just humble. Like he's very articulated. Like it's funny because like I did a podcast back in the day with Jason Redmond, who's an officer, and Dan is like Jason, and I'm just like Don, just, you got an animal, but they're both very smart men, but both at business and just their outlook on life. And, we just talked about culture and civilization and how it's changing. And, and believe me, by their means, by them, by no means am I a tough guy, but my advice was, and I said it right out there, I think the world these days just needs a good fucking punch in the face, with all the trolls and everybody's complaining and moaning and bitching about stuff. I tell people, just like I told Don, I get up every day and I'm so grateful for what I have. I'm not greedy for what I want. I'm grateful for what I have. And I think that's the advice that America should take. Because I've been everywhere with my past, and this is the greatest country on the planet. I've been everywhere. Trust me. The freedoms that we have, we don't get that any other place in the world. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that I loved when I heard you say this, that you say that you're in the business of pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit for folks listening?
Well, yeah. So there's inspirational, motivational coaches, which are subject matter experts in what they do. And I'm a subject matter expert in pain. I've dealt with pain. There are 6 growths in the world and 7 pains. So there are, for the growths, it's physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial. And for the same thing with pain, it's the same thing. It's physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, but then sexual pain. If you've had sexual trauma when you were a kid, I'm not going to talk and say what has happened with me, but I am a subject matter expert in pain. So I don't give opinions. I give advice. I don't believe in opinions. I don't want your opinion. I don't want anybody's opinion. Like, if I want to learn how to wrestle better, I want the beast advice. Like opinions, opinion would be like me telling Don Fry how to fight. It's an opinion. It's not advice because he can kick my ass. So what I am is I give advice, and I'm a subject matter expert on pain. And I have an equation with pain. Pain equals growth. Growth equals power. Power equals knowledge. And knowledge equals profit. So all I've done is I've learned how to profit off of pain. That's it. That's what I do. Everybody tries to profit off of success. I just reverse engineer it. I pour the glass. Everybody looks at the glass. Maybe most of the time people look at it half empty and it's half full. With the pain, I look at it the opposite way. I use the pain. I want to empty that glass. So I constantly am learning from pain. And the rules and the lessons that I've learned, I make sure that I apply them to life and make sure that I don't do that again. But I've learned from it. It's made me stronger. I've been physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, all the abuses have happened to me. Yeah. And it's made me a better person. Instead of boohooing and wanting free shit out of life and moaning and crying, my mindset is, fuck it, fuck you. You're here. Let's attack the hill and do it. Right? You've been through worse. And I think that's one of the contributing factors that got me through BUD/S, SEAL training, basic underwater demolition, the first time through. I mean, it sucks. But I'm always like, shit could always be worse. That's just how I look at things, no matter, what it is. And that's the funny thing. I've been so selective with things in my life. I've never had a job that I have wanted to quit or wanted to get fired at. I've always just falling into the right places at the right times because I think I'm a good human being, and just shit works out, and it's always worked out for me. I'm a dumb Irish kid that's done TVs and movies and SEAL training, and I get to hang out with some of the coolest people that, in the entertainment business. Kid Rocks and John Daly hit a golf ball out of my mouth when I was drinking.
Oh, come on. Really?
Oh, that went viral. That went all over damn, Barstool. We were drunk. Kid Rock's filming it. We were down in Tennessee with. Dude,
I saw this and I did not put it together that was you.
That was me. That was me. That was on I think we were the 9th or 10th hole. I had just won a push-up contest. John bet me $1,000 that I couldn't beat they had a record going around. A guy did I think it was 72 or 74 push-ups in a minute. And I'm a big push-up guy.
Yeah. So we got to talk about that.
$1,000 and said, I bet you for charity, you can't beat that. So I did my 75 and I did 78 real quick, jumped up. And then Bob Ritchie, AKA Kid Rock, said, Navy SEAL, I don't think you have a hair on your ass unless you have John Daly hit a golf ball out of your mouth. Now, what you don't know is we were at Rob O'Neill's house and we started drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
First time I ever had chip beef and gravy. Bob's lady made it, and it was phenomenal. But the Coors Light was flowing, and so were the drinks. And next thing I know, I'm laying down, and John puts the key in my mouth. And he told me he was going to give me a countdown. He didn't. But what I think makes the video so funny is, as soon as he hits it, he just leans down. He pulls the tea out of my mouth and puts it in his pocket. I was like, what the? Yeah, but
John Daly is such a legend.
But everything that we're talking about, all the cool shit, it comes around. I think it comes with great mindset, right? Just believing. I have four foundations of life, right? Teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and communication. I believe they're the 4 keys to success. But then you have to infuse them with your 4 F-bombs, which are your family, your fitness, your finances, and faith. Once you figure out how to make those 8, intertwine and mesh together, man, I'll tell you what, I'm steamrolling over everything that gets in my way. I'm working with Bedros Koulian, one of the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet. I run a couple of businesses and help him with some things. I'm married, it just goes on and on. I could sit here and stroke my, as long as we want, but it all boils down to just the fitness and the mindset, and then just the can-do and drive attitude, and me being grateful and not, if I want something, I go out and get it, like we were talking about Gunter Peterson. Gunter Peterson is a legend in the fitness world. He is the legend.
Right.
I'm over at his house Super Bowl with Myers Leonard and a whole bunch of people. And I love Myers. I know there was some stuff recently, but I love him. He's a great guy. Right, made a mistake. And I'm sitting in his beautiful house in Beverly Hills, and I'm like, he looked at me. He's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, I hang out with him, Clark Bartram, Mike O'Hearn. I grew up idolizing these guys.
Yeah.
I'm breaking bread with these guys, and we're just shooting the shit. And I'm like, and it's amazing because I go, how the hell did I get here? How did I get here? I don't even realize. And Gunter is a friend. We talk. He actually has a few bad habits. Like, he likes to send me pictures of stuff. We won't get into that. I love him. He's an animal. So.
Well, let me ask you this too. And I feel like, man, you've already said so many things.
I know, I'm a mess. I'm all over the place.
No, but when I mean that from the standpoint of, like, we could probably do a show on each of those, you know what I mean? As a category, but, like, for a lot of people listening, I think the one thing that's kind of universal to being a human is adversity and pain. And, like, some people are sheltered more than others. What someone's gone through is different, but it can be tough for everybody. Yeah. A lot of people are like, man, I go through pain, but I'm not, like, over here setting the world on fire. Like, I'm carrying a lot of this stuff around with me, and it's dragging me down. And, it's to some people, depression is a widespread, I'll even call it a pandemic in another sense, right? I
agree, yeah.
So, for you, what do you think it was that you were able to actually kind of turn that pain on its head and actually turn it into something positive or fueled you? Or I don't know, maybe the right word is, like, it made you more resilient. Like, how did that happen for you as an individual?
Well, I teach all over the country. I speak and I do all these seminars and stuff. And I believe, I solely believe that what did it for me is I do a self-reflection drill. Like, and it's weird, and some people think it's corny, but it worked for me. So my father was murdered when I was 11, and he was a womanizer, and he was a brawler and this and that. And I developed this technique when I was 19. And I tell this story all the time. I was coming home from a bar under the influence. God only knows what I was smoking or putting in my body. I came home late at night. Back in the day, different times, right? Obviously, it was still wrong. But I looked in the mirror. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see my reflection. I saw my father. And right then and there, I had to figure out a way to overcome what I knew was going to happen. I was going to go down the same road as him. So I just evaluated myself. And I do this all the time. I make people, guys, girls, and that's what I love about what I do. I don't care how old, how young, what color. I don't care about any of that. I talk about it. If you're just a great human being and you want to be better, take a picture of yourself. If you don't have a mirror, right? Look, there's a picture of my kids, my wife and my kids. And grade yourself and be ruthless with yourself. Be brutally fucking honest with yourself on your family, your fitness, your finance, and faith. This is what I do with this, right? Family. Yeah. Am I a good husband? Am I a good father? Am I a good son? Am I a good brother? Am I a good what? And it goes, you create as many avenues as you can.
Yeah.
Fitness. I look like I'm fit, but fitness is physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual. Right? Am I sound on the inside and out? Taking advice from doc, getting blood. I got blood work done today, checking my blood work, trying to stay ahead of the game. Family fitness, finance. What am I doing to create growth? Growth, not just, we talked about the 6 growths, not just financial, but all the other ones. Financial will come, right? What I try to do is I measure my success by helping others help themselves, right? Like Gunter Peterson is one of the most successful men I know because he helps people all over the world with his fitness programs and that. So that's how I define success, not from this, but how I feel and what I'm doing. And then last is faith. Like faith is the biggest one. That's my jam, right? Faith is not religion. It's about programming yourselves. Now watch, this is not premeditated, but we haven't talked about this. Fill in the blanks. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
What do you do before you cross the street? Go.
Look both ways.
Okay. Now you're married.
Yep.
And you have children.
Oh yeah.
We don't need it. Ages. Are any of them old enough to, what's the oldest?
Oldest one is 6.
Perfect. Okay. Even at 6, right? With your permission, if I walked up, asked, with your permission, your wife and your children, if they were old enough, what do you do before you cross the street? What do you think they would say?
The daughter would say, look both ways.
That's right. But as they get older, all of them are going to say that because
all of them. Yeah.
Because they were programmed to do that. Now here's the $1 million question. Have you, your wife, or your child been hit by a car crossing the street?
No.
Then why the hell do you do it? Not because it's a defensive measure that you use in your mindset that if you do this, but you were programmed. Now I'm going to program you 2 more ways. Watch this real quick. This is kind of weird shit I do. Fill in the blanks. You may get it right. It's not always what you know. It's
who you know.
That's right. You got that one right. Good. Now let's try an offensive tactic.
Okay.
The 6-year-old is playing in a park. Your wife is playing with the child. They are looking towards you, and you are sitting on a bench, and I am coming up behind them, and you see I'm a big guy with my fist clenched, looking like this, right? And I'm walking at them full speed, and you, even if you yell, you're not going to get there. What are you going to try to do? What is your measure that you're going to do? What is your offensive measure you're going to do? Go.
Man, can I get there?
You can get there. What are you going to do?
I would sprint and I'd probably scream.
You would scream, but where would you try to place them?
I would try and place them behind me. I would try and get in between.
So you've been.
Sorry, maybe I overthought that.
No, that's good. You have defensive and you have offensive.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do the $1 million one. Let's see if you get this right. You can only do 2 things in life.
Okay.
2 things. Black and white. Right? Yep. Salt and pepper. Here we go. You can only W or L. What does W stand for?
Win.
And what does L stand for?
Lose.
No.
Oh.
You've been programmed right, but you've been programmed incorrect.
Oh, okay.
I believe you only lose if you quit. Are you a quitter?
No.
No, because if you quit, bottom line, if you quit anything in life, here's the gist, ladies and gentlemen. You're a fucking quitter. That's it. I'm not going to make this politically correct. I'm not. If you quit, you're a quitter. People ask me, what's it like to quit, Cash? I don't know. But the reason why I'll call you a loser is because you may have lost out on all these amazing opportunities. Now you go, what the hell does this have to do with mindset? What you don't know is I adopted my son from my wife's previous marriage from a guy who owed a whole bunch of money. And when I said I wanted him, he said never. I said, I'll waive the fee. He said, Roger that. So that's where I come up with that. You only lose if you quit in life. I am not a loser. I'm a learner, and I learn all the time. I've made mistakes with Bezos Coolian. Ooh, that didn't go well. And I can't believe I'm even going to say this. This will probably get your ratings up.
Here we go.
No, here we go. So I have one standing rule in my house. I had a bad childhood. So did my wife. My wife is a stay-at-home mother. I love that. I love it. This is my mindset. When our second was born, our daughter was born, you know as well as I do, when a newborn, things get chaotic and chaos, right? It gets crazy. And sometimes
it's nuts.
Men, have you ever said anything and when it comes out, you actually watch it come out and you go, oh no. Well, I said,
you're basically describing every day of my life.
I said, being a stay-at-home mom is not a real job.
Oh, yep. Yeah. All right.
How do you think that went?
what is it? Happy wife, happy life.
She's Italian from New York. How do you think that went?
Oh, dude, I'm also married to an Italian. It went horrible.
So
you probably didn't know. You went through buds and you probably didn't know what pain was yet.
But here's the thing. Here's what I learned. Do you think I ever did it again?
Hope not.
No.
You learned.
I'm not stupid. But my point is what the world needs to do with the mindset and creating and overcoming adversity is you need to reprogram some of the things, because I know I've been joking around, that you're doing. And the $1 million thing that you can do is realize right now that you can only do two things in life: win and learn. The most successful people in life, right? I mean, you told me some of the people, Diamond Dallas Page and all these amazing people.
Right.
What you see, the wins, how successful they are, what you don't see is the lessons learned that are up here, the Bedros Keuilians, the people that are really successful in life, right? And obviously you see the financial. That's what we judge it on.
Sure.
They're 100 times more successful with the family, the fitness, the finance, right? And the faith. It's all the other things, all the growth. And when you really become successful, you've learned how to create growth at all 6 of those platforms. You ever heard the story of like the people that are like, they're super rich and they're super miserable? Like, I'm rich, they're miserable, right?
Absolutely. I know the people.
Yes, I do too. Here's the thing, because they're only really successful in growth in a few of those platforms. Me, I have crushed 5 of them. And this is what I tell people. I'll give me the fucking money. Because I've crushed the rest. I did a movie with Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks told me, man, money is the root of all evil. I'm like, you know what? Let's switch it. Let me see how I do it. He's like, I'm telling you, you wouldn't like it. Let me be the judge of that, Tom. And he laughed about it. But
yeah,
I'm so secure and so happy with everything else. Like, I'm a rich man already. And that's what I tell people. You know, people, Bedros Keuilian, same thing. What do you want to be? I want to be a millionaire. Why does everybody want to be a millionaire? I don't get that. What I want to do is be the best human being I can, overcome any type of adversity that hits my way, and create a mindset that no matter what happens, I am the magnetic force in a room that people are drawn to in a positive way. That's how I become successful. I walk into a room and, you know, the job I got for Bedros Keuilian, I wasn't the only SEAL that applied for the position. I wasn't. I mean, if you would have heard the first minute of my job interview with Bedros was, I'm not the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, and I probably won't make you the most money. He goes, Ray, just let you know, this is not how an interview goes. But then I said, and it's what I said after that that literally he went like this, you're hired. And that is between him and I. And that's what people need to focus on, is a can be used for 2 things. You know, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, people use the in a negative way. You need to use the as a crescendo in a positive way, right? With everything. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm a rich man in so many other ways, but I'm still grinding. I don't have the car of my dreams, but I have a reliable car that gets me to and from work. And if my kids are sick, it'll still get them. I'm the guy who has lived so negatively that literally, unless God forbid something was happening with an ailment or something where I try to find the good in everything. And people go, you can't be real. And this is what I tell people, motherfucker, I'm as real as they come, because I have suffered. And in order to succeed in life, to really succeed, you gotta suffer, because suffering creates opportunity. Failure creates opportunity, but it can also create growth. Most people, right? What do they say all the time? I hear this and I get pissed all the time. Failure is not an option.
Right.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I fail every day. I just don't quit.
So how do you make the best of that, right? I mean, there's a lot of people, their biggest fear in life is failure. The thought of it alone will stop a lot of people from even trying. And sometimes trying something that like they might care about a whole heck of a lot. So for you, how do you handle and kind of like, look at failure through the proper lens so that you can grow from it?
Well, because the thing is if I fail and I didn't quit, all that tells me is I didn't have the right piece of the puzzle that day. I just go back, like when I approached Bud, SEAL training, right? Let's use something that's supposed to be the hardest thing in the world. I already knew that one of 3 things was going to happen. I was either going to pass, I was going to quit, or I was probably going to die. That's it. I mean, that's my options. So I already know I can predict the future. Of the future, a million things can happen. All I have to do is focus on those three. So that's how I look at things. Like a job interview. You're either going to get the job or you're not.
Right.
And the reason why people in general in society are so scared about failing is because they think failing and quitting are the same things, and they're not. It all goes back to the programming. People have been programmed wrong. It's okay.
Can I interrupt you? Because I so relate to what you're saying. And I don't know why this sticks out in my mind so much. I must have been like 6. I mean, really, I must have been like 6 if I think about where I was and where I lived at the time. I remember someone who I respect a whole heck of a lot and meant a lot to me in my life basically said something like, people say it's good to like fail and learn. And like, why would you want to fail? Like, you don't want to fail. You shouldn't want to fail. You shouldn't strive to fail. And for a long time, I would probably, if you would have asked me years ago, I would have said my biggest fear is failure.
Everybody has been taught that. That's
hardwired. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Exactly. It's the same thing as what I told you about, right? What? Win and lose.
And
because everybody thinks if you lose, you're quitting. Listen, you don't really, if you've given it all you got, even if you lose something, if you gave it 1,000%, you put the fuck out. As long as you learn what you need, like if I got in a fight, okay, I'm going to learn how do I get better? Or you can just say, I'm never going to get in a fight. I'm a loser. You can't do that. And that's what people do. If they don't get the job, they boo-hoo. Man, I'll tell you what, there was one time when I didn't get a job and I reached out to the guy and this was years ago. And I said, hey, sir, I get it. I didn't get the job. Can I take you out to lunch? And the guy said, what? Like, I'd like to take you out to lunch. And he goes, why? I want to know why I didn't get the job.
Yeah.
He was like, and then I'm not angry, but how am I going to learn if I don't? And the guy,
how are you going to get the next job?
Told me some coffee. And he was just like, listen, you were underqualified and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. He goes, but if you have the qualifications, it was great. And I was like, okay, so I just need to go out and, which is hard, but I had to go out and get more skills. But if I wouldn't have asked and I would have just been a little bitch, I would have been, oh, screw that guy. I wouldn't have learned. I would have just thought it was, he didn't like the way I looked or whatever. And I asked him, I said, is it the way I'm dressed? Is it the way I look? He says, no, it has nothing to do with that. You look great. You have a nice outfit on. You're well groomed. He said, you just, with the other candidates, you just weren't my top pick. He goes, but no one's ever asked me that again before. And I'm like, well, I said, that's technically, that's a shame. I said, don't you find that odd that someone didn't get a job and instead of never reaching out to you again, they didn't reach out and just ask you why?
Right.
He's like, I've never thought of it like that. I'm like, well, how the hell is someone supposed to internally get better if they can't comprehend the internal dialogue that's going on, right? Everybody, all men have two things. They have an inner bitch right here, fears, doubts, and frustrations.
Yeah.
And they have toxic cognitions here. That's demons.
Huh.
My job is I can kill 99.9% of my fear, doubts, and frustrations. I can. And it starts with believing in me. But the demons, my childhood, things like that, I can't. But what I can do is I can turn around, name, claim, and tame them, realize that, hey, not everything that happened in your childhood is your fault. You're a better person. I try to find the positive. And then once I attack that demon, because here's the thing, you can never outrun a demon, right? If you were an alcoholic, if drugs, if God only knows, whatever, right? You can run as fast as you can. That demon's going to catch you. So my thing is my mindset, we talked about before, fuck you, is I turn around and I face that demon and I go, listen, okay, I know I can't beat you, but I can at least learn how to try to control, because life is about control, right? The way that I become successful is I try to control the things that I can control. Meaning, I control what time I get up. I control what I put in my body. I control what time I go to bed. Other than that, they're the things that I know I can control. Like I wholeheartely can control it. I don't ever get up with one of these. I use an old school alarm clock. I don't, because these have snoozes on them. I don't like getting up like, I set your watch 10 minutes early. No, just change your clock, your old clock, and make it, it's my clock says 10 till 5. It's not 10 till 5. It's 16:42. I'm always ahead.
Yeah.
Always ahead. I'm never late, because if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired, no matter what the job is. No matter what the job is, because each human being is being graded and evaluated since the day where they were born to the day they die, right?
Yeah.
You're born, there's a dash, and you die. What we do in that dash is what's going to create that eulogy of what we're going to leave behind. Everybody leaves a legacy. It's just, what is that legacy going to be that you leave? Is it athletics? I mean, this is the pro athlete podcast. Is it? And that's the thing. I know some of these people that you talk to. I'm an athlete. I have an athletic mindset. That's what I have here. It's not this. I'm not a world-class wrestler. I'm not the world's one of the best, fitness instructors on the planet. I'm just a guy that whatever I set my mind to, I will find a way to do it. I just do. I mean, I do it. I wanted this job with Bedros Cooling. I work for him. I mean, guys, he's elite.
Is that like relentlessness? Is that innate? Is that something you've built over time?
Yeah, and I love it. I am a relentless, ruthless bastard when it comes to getting what I want. But I do it with honor and I do it with integrity. I just won't stop. I'm the guy that, like, I will call you 1,000 times until you tell me to go take a fucking flying leap. Like when I met Gunter, Peter, I was like, dude, and I just take risks. I was like, hey, Gunter, I'd love to come up because I was in California, come up to Beverly Hills and train with you one day. He goes, sure. Are you serious? Yeah, here's my address. I was like, but he was kind of following me and stuff. And I walked in there, and his facility is, it's amazing. It's got shit in there that literally you need to have like a doctorate to figure out. He and he's like, work out. And all I do is walk around. Every time I go in his gym, I don't work out. I just look around. I'm amazed. He's like, you going to work out? I'm like, he said, it'll come. It's still puppy love. I'm still learning. But and then after that, we hang out, we have lunch. He's like, hey, why don't you come to my house? Really? Yeah. Hey, I come in town next time. Hey, why don't you come speak to my immediate family? No, I don't want to have, about my mindset. I don't want no cameras. Okay.
I wanted to ask you about this because I can't remember if he mentioned it while we were talking or afterwards, but he said that you dropped some knowledge on him about the way you think about like the company you keep in your inner circle. Would you mind expanding on that a little bit?
No, I mean, it's the same thing. The company I keep is I surround myself with people that are bigger, better, faster, and stronger than me. Like, I am the alpha of my world, but I try to make myself uncomfortable every fucking day learning something. So if I want to learn about fitness, I'm going to become friends with him. If I want to learn about business, I literally attack. I am the guy that literally just like, I shoot myself out of a fucking mental catapult at people and I hit their castles and I'm like, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. And people just, they realize that number one, I'm not full of shit. I'm fucking crazy. Right.
Yeah.
And I have passion and purpose. And I think that's what the world is lacking a lot of is passion and purpose. I was a Navy SEAL for 12 years. I worked for the agency for 14 years and I was really good at it. But after a while, it just didn't do anything for me. Right. I was great at hurting people. And I figured out that my real fucking passion and my real purpose is helping people. I work with kids. I work with men. I do corporate training. I fucking love it. I'm 49 years old. And it's like, a guy asked me a question the other day, and I think it was probably one of the most deep questions I've ever heard. He goes, from your age right now until the day you were born, he goes, Ray, I know you were younger, you were SEAL. What age would you say is the best day of your life? And I said, man, it's today. I think it's today. He's like, is it when you married your wife or you had your kids? I'm like, and I told him, I said, I know this is going to sound corny, but every day that I wake up, it's the best fucking day of my life. And that's the thing, because, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Guess what, guys? Here's a fucking newsflash. Entrepreneur means risk taker. That's all it means. Every night that you go to sleep, there's a chance you may not wake up. Every time you get in the car, there's a chance you're going to be in an accident. Every time you walk down the steps, every single person on the earth is an entrepreneur in some fashion. Yeah. People just decided to attach money to that. Money's fucking cool and I love it. And I get money does make the world go around, but you know what else makes the world go around? Great fucking human beings with great mindsets that want to help each other out. And that's what's so great about a lot of the people that you interview. I mean, like you said, you reached out to Gunter, sure. So,
right.
Like same thing with me. Like,
Wait.
It's amazing. My point to all this is I think the world just needs to start taking more risk and start nutting up and asking questions, right? Like, let's go back to the dating world. If I wouldn't ask my wife out to have a drink, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be half the man I am. I mean, I asked a woman I have no business being with, right? So, but think about how many guys see a good-looking girl in the bar and they're scared to ask her. Because what are they scared of? Failure.
Rejection.
Because they think,
failure.
Man, I'm the guy at the bar. I'd be like, hey, you want to go out? 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 I got it. Just so happened my wife was there. No, I'm kidding.
Well, let me ask you this too, because I imagine there's a lot of people who are listening and they're like, man, this guy is just hardwired to be successful, right? He has a right mindset. Like, I wish I was like that. All right. For you, right, that answer, like, today is probably the best day of my life.
Yep.
And when I wake up tomorrow, is that just something, again, I'm kind of, trying to understand, like, is that innate, or would you tell people like, no, that's a choice. That's a conscious decision I'm making to make each day.
It's a conscious decision that I've programmed myself to do every day. I believe that every man and woman, when I say just human, has to have. Every person has a POL and an MOL. A pattern of life is what we do, right? Rob O'Neill is one of my best friends. If you ever wanted me to get him on your podcast, killed Osama bin Laden.
Dude, I would absolutely. I'll stalk you after this to take that out.
We tracked, because I did the zero dark 30 stuff for real with the agency, but cell phone towers they go up in his cell phone tower and they come back down and they leave a footprint of where you are. People have patterns of life. So how do I create the best day of my life? I'll tell you how. I create a pattern of life. I do it for about 30 days. I don't believe in this 21 and 90 bullshit. In 21 days, it's a habit. 90 is a lifestyle. Man, I'm 49 years old and I'm learning. I still have a lot to learn about being a father, a husband, a person. I'm always learning. But what I do know and what I can do is I can look at things when I create. I have a list. I write shit down. Emotional discipline is 3 colors. Emotional. You're either in the fucking red, you're in the green where you want to be, but do you really want to be there? And you're in the blue. So let's use people. Okay. David Goggins. Everybody knows Goggins, right? Black Navy SEAL. He's an animal. What he does is he puts himself in the blue. He disassociates, physical, mental, and emotional pain from what's really going on. And he likes to run cold. People in the green, they think they're running through life comfortable, but what they're doing is they just have fucking blinders on. And then you have me, the red. I get the red. I'm fucking emotional and I'm passionate. The trick to this, right, is figuring out in this POL what puts you in the red, what puts you in the blue. Realize what they are. If they are negative entities, people, places, persons, or things, right? Just if they're negative, then you need to fucking cut them loose, because what you need to do is you need to control, like Muhammad Ali did. You need to control when you're going in the red and when you're going in the blue. David Goggins goes in the blue because he wants to go in the blue. And when he speaks, he goes in the red because he wants to be in the red because people love it. But in all actuality, he's in the green. He's calm as can be. Muhammad Ali was the best in the world doing that, acting like he was tired of the rope-a-dope, right?
Yep.
Getting people all emotional. I got him. And all of a sudden, he boom, 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 hits you.
Yeah.
You can do that with yourself, but what you need to do is get rid of the negativity. Seesaw negativity. Harvard Business Study. You have 8 employees that work for you. If you have 1 negative person that sits on that seesaw, you need 7 people to sit on that other side to equal it out. So every negative person, place, and thing you have in your life, you need 7, they say, to counter it. So what do? For 30 days, I have my markers. They're sitting right over there. What makes me red? What makes me blue? And what makes me green? And I don't know if you and then I also have a calendar that tells me how many days roughly I have to live on Earth, like the 10,000 weeks.
Yeah.
I have that. So
that'll get you motivated.
So what do? I get rid of the negativity. I get rid of the negative shit in my life so that I can control more of me. Then what I do is I develop, and this is what listen, if you guys only take one thing out of this, do this. Create a motto of life. My daughter is 12 years old. And every morning she gets up, and I have a video, I'll show it to you afterwards, when she was like 6, she says, I'm a champion and I'm a winner.
Oh, I
That's
love
what
it.
she says. It's the first thing she says when she gets up. It's the last thing she says when she goes to bed. My one business partner says, I'm effing awesome. He has his kids say it. Now,
Yeah.
I say, be great today, be a bitch tomorrow. Right, my motto is time plus effort equals results. I'm going to get up. I'm going to give it all I've got, right? Average human has about 16 to 18 hours of doing two things, putting the fuck out or getting just kicked in the dick. Sorry, that's it. So my thing is I'm just going to put the fuck out. I'm going to say that tomorrow I'm going to rest, but I don't. I go to bed. I do a master reset on me. I get up like it's the greatest day on earth again, put my feet on the ground, take a deep breath and go, be great today, be a bitch tomorrow. And if people start doing that,
I love
right,
that.
you can train the conscious and unconscious mind by doing that. For 2 minutes a day, for 21 days, you can train yourself, the subconscious mind to be positive. But for the vocal, for you need to get up. And I tell people, look in the mirror and say it every day, be great today, be a bitch tomorrow. People are like, it's corny. Is it? You've been programmed to know that it's not always what you know, it's who you know. You've already been programmed that, you look both ways before you cross the street. Watch. Does heaven represent good or bad?
Good.
And what does hell represent?
Bad.
Have you ever been there? How the fuck you know? But you've been programmed. So my thing is,
right.
and I showed you that you've been programmed wrong. You win and lose. Failure is not an option. Why don't you start doing what's more important? Focus on you and focus on the few, focus on you, and then rewire the internal dialogue. That's what matters. I don't care if my neighbors go out and get a new Mercedes I don't care. I care about me. What did I do? What is my eulogy going to say when I die? That's what I tell people. My clients, do coaching clients, write your eulogy right now. Tell me what it says. And I tell them what mine says. I don't like my eulogy. If you like your eulogy, you're full of shit.
Right.
You constantly got to be micro and macro fine tuning, right? That just like an athlete, you've got to, right, when we go in the gym, we know something works. I don't do the same workout all the time. Your body's going to get used to it, right? Same thing with your mind. You've got to constantly challenge yourself. You've got to constantly fail, because if you don't fail, you're not challenging yourself. So you're a hypocrite. I'm successful. Are you really? How much more successful would you be if you really pushed yourself? Just because you make $1 million doesn't mean you're fucking successful. Sometimes it just means you're lucky.
That's also true.
I'll take the luck, but hey, right now, but my thing is I'm 49. I'm finally starting to really get in my rhythm. I'm getting up one step, realizing who I am. And this is what I'm going to tell people too. I was a Navy SEAL and I, best of the best and blah, all that shit. I didn't love myself. I was in love with myself. And I fucking hated it. And you know who brought that to my attention? My wife. She said, you were a prick. You're good, you're good. But she goes, you're just a prick. And the reason why I was a prick, and the reason why I used to do impulsive purchasing, and I used to have $200,000 of cars sitting in the driveway, is because I really wasn't happy with me. Now I make 3 times as much money as I used to. I have a little pickup truck that's paid off for. And you know what? I could give a fuck less.
How did you make that switch? Because it sounds easy, but that's one of the hardest things in the world to do. And to your point, to go back earlier, right? You said, like, ever heard about the guy who's wealthy and miserable, right? Like, there's a lot of people living like that at all economic statuses.
It just goes back to that self-reflection. I kept, I went to some counseling. I had some PTSD from the wars and stuff like that. And it started affecting my relationship with my wife. And I realized, and me and my wife sat down and she said it. She's not a therapist. She's a very, intellectual woman. And she said, the problem is, Ray, is you're in love with your shadow, but you're not in love with you. Like what projects, Navy SEAL, TV, movies. And I looked at her and it was funny because I was like, you think I was like, you're fucking right. But why don't I love myself? Well, let's just rewind back. Abusive childhood. Father was rude. Mother didn't love me. And instead of accepting it and facing it, I built up the most emotional and the walls, right? Mental,
dude.
Walls.
Yeah, you're speaking my language right now.
Men build these walls. And then when my wife did that, when she said that to me, it fucking hit. I literally felt like she punched me in the face. And I was drained. And I said, you're right. So what did I do? I tore down those walls, and it took time, right? Really trying to explore myself. I tried getting into meditation. I've tried everything, man. Just try to find my center in this. Mark Devine's amazing SEAL fit. He's been helping me. So his two-lamb, Ronin Tactics, they help me.
Oh, I do know him. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So he's like, close your eyes and tell me what you see. I see these giant paws hitting the ball back and forth really fucking fast, right? Like this.
Yeah.
We're like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I know. So what does two-lamb say? He's like, okay, that's what you see. That's your focal point. Slow the ball down. So now the ball is slowing down. Now, it's never going to stop because I'm insane. But by slowing that ball down, that mental and emotional ball, I started realizing that the materialistic shit that I was buying and expensive watches, well, I love watches, but the cars and the stupid shit that I was doing, like I was taking my family on vacations, not because I needed to take them on, because I wanted to take them on vacations, because they needed a vacation to get away from who I was.
Oh,
because when I go on vacation, I'm someone different, right? I leave all my troubles, and Bedros Koulian told me the best advice he ever told me. I swear by this. He goes, don't be the man that takes your family on one vacation. Take them on two vacations. And I was like, I don't get it. He goes, take them on vacation because number one, they're going to think the first one's because you have to. The second one, they're going to know it's because you want to. And I believe that. I'm taking my family to Nag's Head next week, and then me and my wife would like to go to the Caribbean. Sometimes we take my daughter and we take my niece because I want to, But the minute that people let down their one guard and they accept that, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable. I'm human. Like a lot of guys and the people that you told me to interview, ego is our biggest enemy. My ego.
Oh man.
I'm 5'7", but in my mind I'm 7'5". And now in my mind, I'm 5'7", 205 pounds. You know what? I'm perfectly content with it.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly content with driving my little pickup truck because I go on these lives. I have a big following. People are like, what kind of car are you driving? Fucking cares.
Right.
And that's because people have been programmed. It goes back programmed to the wrong thing. You don't need to have a Bugatti and have a Ferrari to be a rich guy. I drive a little pickup truck that's paid off for, and I absolutely love it. I turn the key, and it works.
Gets you from A to B. Well, and I feel like one of the most important things that I hope people take away from that, and I mean this when I say with all due respect, like you fall in that rare category of an actual certified badass. Navy SEAL, you know what I mean? You've been all over the world doing things that most people only see in movies, on top of everything that you're doing now. But like the fact that you said, like, look, I needed help too. And I had to become vulnerable to get to a place where I love myself. And now it's like ready to set the world on fire, which I think is
most of the strongest are the weakest. Actually, I was actually strong in certain areas, but in the emotional, fucking just a baby, And the thing is because I never trusted anybody to open up to because of my childhood and my relationship with my mother. But then when I met my wife, right? I mean, dude. Yeah. I mean, I did, like, I got her tattooed on my arm. I mean, I ain't fucking around. I mean, I love but when you find that right person, it could be a friend, anything, but I just opened, I exposed myself, and I was like, and then I was like, what is she going to think of me if I cry and if I do this? And I'll tell you, a lot of times it's those pinnacle moments that really create growth, right? I mean, people are like, man, you're a fucking savage, you're a badass. Man, my wife tells you I'm a 205-pound bitch. I'm like an emotional fucking roller coaster, but I accept it. I used to know, right? I mean, like, I gotta tell guys, it's like, there's a video I put out a while ago when my daughter was young, and she's like, Daddy, will you dress up like a little girl and let me put makeup and stuff on you? And I went, yep. And people are like, Navy SEALs don't do that. I'm like, dude, I'm a father.
Right, dads do.
That's what real men and mommies will do it too, right? They'll do whatever. I mean, people that are comfortable with themselves, because this is what I stopped doing a long time ago. I stopped giving a fuck what the many thought, and I only give a fuck what the few think, and that's in my circle. I did. Like when I first got out of SEAL teams and I was doing stuff, people were like, go, here you go. And I was like, oh my God, I'm misrepresenting the SEAL teams. And nope. I am going to do me, And I'm going to, and that's what I keep telling you. Do it with honor, do it with courage, do it with commitment. Just be the best fucking version of you and learn. Man, every fucking day I get up. If you're not learning, if you're not falling down, if you're not wiping off that, literally I have a whiteboard and regrouping because you failed, then you are not working at your full capacity, right? Like it's been said, most people run on 60% of their maximum capacity. I mean, man, I'm running about 90. I still haven't hit 100 because when I hit 100, I'm probably gonna fucking die. But when I go to the gym, I don't talk to people. I'm a fucking savage in the gym. When I do my push-ups on Saturdays, I go to the gym right afterwards. It's a warm-up for me. And people are like, how did you get that way? Because I believe in myself. I love myself. And people are like, Navy SEALs don't talk like that. Yeah, we do. You get the shadow, you get the ego, but the real us, that's what we say. I've had some deep conversations with Gunter. Man, you're on the road all the time, and people, dude, wherever hotel I'm at, my wife has my phone number, my cell phone number, and the hotel. You call me anytime you want, baby. Because here's the thing, I am in this to win this, and I've picked my circle, man. Now I let people in periodically, very selectively, but I'm not opening the floodgates, motherfuckers. People are like, oh, nope. So that's what I tell people, but you have to focus on you before you do all that. That's that NFL mindset that you have to have, that NBA. I mean, you've got to be the athlete, the fucking tier 1 operator of everything you do, whether you're a trash man or the next president.
Right. Well, and I think that's something that it's funny. Like, so at the end of this, we always do a wrap up with my wife. It's called the Run It By My Wife section. She comes on and we talk about it, and hearing the way you described, I'm going to call it your emotional growth. I know she's going to bring it up because I mean, look, I'm a pretty transparent guy. Like I'm going through the same thing. There's a lot of stuff that I almost saw it as a sign of strength, the ability to like persevere through things that were going on in my life, and almost in a sick way, like, oh, no one even knows how fucked up I am right now, sort of thing. And I was almost like, man, that's a sign of like my strength as an individual. And now it's funny the impact having kids has.
Yes.
The cracks start to show, and I'm like, man, I can't be the best dad if I'm not allowing myself to be, I mean this in a non-fluffy way, like version of myself. Like if I'm not addressing this stuff and able to walk around like emotionally happy, free, I'm not showing up 100% as a dad. And for me, that's my measuring stick, in a lot of ways. When you talk about legacy, eulogy, for me, it's like, man, I hope my kids knew how much I loved them. And I hope they knew that they were everything I did, and I feel like becoming a dad.
I love it. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
A true warrior, it's not physical, it's mental and emotional. Right. And a true warrior, and this is man or woman, because a warrior can be anything. Yeah. Not always savage. A true warrior is a servant. It's a servant. My job, I used to destroy and do all the stuff. Now my job is to serve. My job is to serve my community, serve myself, serve my family, serve with purpose, right? Everybody, and that's what they do. No matter if I put on one of my courses, the first thing we do it wrong, just like you've been programmed. We judge people on their physical appearance.
Yeah.
What do they have inside? We just had a gentleman graduate our project course that we hold with Bedros.
Which looks so cool. I was going to ask you if we had time, but it looks awesome.
We do. Careful what you wish for. Everybody wants to do savage shit, but until it's time to do savage shit. But we had a gentleman, his name is Ken, 57 years old. He was our honor man. He wasn't the biggest, fastest, or strongest, but when the shit hit the fan, he was calm, cool, and collective, and he used what he brought to the table, and that was 57 years of wisdom. And we were like, wow. So my point is everybody, now before we get, I'm going to make sure everybody knows this. Every single person on this earth has two things. They have a superpower and they have a kryptonite. They have a strength and a weakness. Okay. Know what your strengths are and use them, but focus on your weaknesses and attack them. What do most people do? I'm not good at this. So what do? They avoid it. No, attack your weaknesses. Make your weaknesses your new strengths, your newfound strengths. And what's going to happen is as you keep assessing yourself, right? As you mature, because you're constantly changing, right? Like the universe, weaknesses, new events are going to come up. You just have to keep attacking them. If you develop that mindset that, hey, I don't always have to run. I can turn around and attack it, or I can come up with a plan. You are going to create that growth that we were talking about. And like I said, growth is not always financial or physical growth. It's going to be the mental, the spiritual, the social. There's so many other types of growth that are important, but people have been programmed to look at the wrong ones, physical and financial. Dude, I mean, I've got my ass kicked by guys that aren't half the size of me. It's just, physical and it doesn't mean anything. It's just who wants it more, who's hungrier, and who has that drive. So remember, be the double-edged sword, be the savage and the servant. That's my advice.
Oh, man.
Boom! Scared me off.
Yeah, exactly, man. Throw me the diamond cutter. Let me. I know we're at 5:07. Do you have time for one more question, or do you need to get running?
I'm loving it. I'm fucking on fire here. Keep them coming.
Oh, dude. Yeah, as am I. I'm ready. Well, I already worked out today, but I'm gonna fucking go have to do something. If we could, I definitely want to talk to you about that, because, like you said, you're 49. You're in fantastic shape, and you've talked a few times about like the 4 Fs, right? And I what I feel like I'm hearing is like you can't have one without the other and be operating at the highest level. Can you talk a little bit about your perspective? And if you don't mind, man, I would love to hear like what your routine is, and like what, when are you working out? Like, how do you approach it?
People always ask me how many push-ups can you do and stuff like that. My answer to everything is all of them. My approach is, I'm blessed. I have a great job working for Bezos. I try to get 2 workouts in a day. I get up in the morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Every day that I'm home, my POL is this, my pattern of life. I take my daughter to school. My wife can, but she does 2 workouts in the morning at her Fit Body Boot Camp. I love to spend that time with my daughter. I take her, mama gets her ready, but I take her to school. I drop her off. I get about an hour in the gym and come back, start my day at about 10 o'clock. At about 3 o'clock, I go back to the gym and get another cardio in or something, or I do some boxing or some jiu-jitsu or something. Come back, work till about dinner time, go back up till about 8 o'clock, and I get it done. I do that Monday through Monday. If things are slowing down, but I will plan time for my family. Like tonight, when I get done, I've got a meeting at 6:30, I told you, and then I'm taking my daughter out to dinner.
Awesome.
What was the first question you asked me? Because you got me to lifting. It was how I what?
No. Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing. It's like,
oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, and I guess like the bigger question is, and I feel like you've already said as much. It's like, can someone get to a point mentally, either mentally fit, mentally resilient, without having the physical fitness component?
Of course you can. The physical just comes with the discipline. Like, here's the thing. Like I tell people, unless you have like a thyroid issue or you have like an ailment, if you don't want to be heavy, the best advice I tell people is create movement, right?
Okay.
One of my best friends, he was almost 400 pounds. I got him down to 238 pounds in 16 months. Anything is possible, but what I tell people is listen, there's 2 types of motivation, internal and external, right? Best drill I give people is go to the gym. I put headphones in. 99% of the time, I have no music playing. I don't want people bothering me. They leave me alone. I self-motivate myself. Right?
Okay.
Because what most people do is motivation, external motivation is a temporary fix. Discipline. It's discipline, right? I can motivate you to go to the water. You're a horse and drink it, but I can't make you drink it. I can't. Only you can do that. You have to get a taste of that water, whatever the symbolism of that, what that water is that you want, and then you got to fucking want it more. So what's my mindset to people? I know you were talking about the 4 F-bombs. You've got to find, speaking of which, there's my MMA coach right there.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick up, but that's okay. He's going to be like, what? Yeah, he'll kick my ass. Dan Gleaton, world-class fighter there. You have to find, like everybody's like, oh, you have to find the perfect balance. There is no fucking perfect balance. There is no perfect balance to what in your 4 F-bombs.
Yeah.
What most people do is they're doing really good with finance, then they're fucking neglecting the other ones. So what I try to do is, listen, man, I'm not going to be a straight A student. I'm not a straight A student, but I'm going to try to be a solid B and C. But my family, the things that I focus on, family, fitness, finances, and faith. They're the 4 foundations of life. I put family at the top. I put faith at the bottom. I have to believe in myself, because if I don't believe in myself, if I don't love myself, then how can I love others? How can I respect others if I don't respect myself? And literally what my mindset and what I do and what we do with the project and everything I do is we go in and we strip down that foundation, rebuild it. Because here's the thing. We're a home. My home and your home is different, right? I live in a big home here. If I have a shitty foundation on a $2 million house, what's going to happen to that house?
Oh, it's going to crumble.
It's going to crumble. But what I do, and what I suggest you do, is tear down that fucking house, the symbolism of where you are right now, and focus on the foundation. Don't worry about the shutters and the fucking this and that and all. It doesn't matter. You have a strong foundation of life, right? Then you can just slowly build that house and build the shelter that you need. And that's what people need to understand. But find the balance that works for you. I hate when motivational speakers come in here and go, you got to give 80% of this and 40% of this. And I tell them,
allocating.
What works for you does not work for me. You are not me. Your wife is not my wife. You have to find out the perfect level of fucking crazy that works in your family and in your circle. That's it. It's not,
I love it.
That's what it is, though. Like you have to surround yourself with people who are as fucking nuts as you, who are as passionate as you. And that's why I hang out with Gunter. Gunter's like, me and Gunter met and we acted like we knew each other for 20 years. Like the things that we talked about, just our principles with our family and stuff, and Gunter's like, man, he was testing me, man, you got to get hit on all the time. I think I do, man. But why do you think I have a picture of my wife tattooed on my arm? He's like, I'm like, yeah. Because whenever I think of something stupid, she goes, I'll kill you. I'm like, okay, roger that. But, and I like that. I know people are like, and that's the thing, my Instagram page, I put pictures of my family on there. You don't have to be a hard ass all the time.
Yeah.
I'll whoop your ass and smile while I'm doing it, man. I don't care. I mean, do it, but find the balance that works for you. Right. I hate when people come in and, like I said, and give me their opinion on like parenting. Bitch, shut up. I mean, I don't want to hear it. I appreciate it.
I'm with you.
I remember when everybody said, don't put a DVD player in the back of your car. Man, my kid would watch that shit. I put an educational, she'd be quiet the whole time. You should talk to her. Yeah.
Tell me not to do that again. I just had 30 minutes of peace and quiet.
She sat quiet in that thing. All we had to do is stop and feed her and change her. My wife was like, this is the best fucking thing we ever bought in the world. Right. Horrible parents. So I'm sorry. I hate to keep going. What else you got? I'm sorry.
No, man. I love it. And I know you got a date with the family. You got other business obligations. So listen, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be, number one, fired up by this. Boom. I'm sure there's a lot of push-ups happening after listening to this one. Yeah. For people who want to follow you, there's a lot of things that you're doing, man. I know you do coaching, you have Conquer, you're doing the project. Where can we direct people if they want to learn more about what you're doing, get involved, or potentially work with you?
Yeah, so I have a website called www.raycashcare.com. You can check out there, do some stuff. I'm on Instagram. I've got the little blue check thing, so you know who I am, the Ray Cash Care. And I also have a Frog Mindset blue check Facebook page. Every Saturday or Sunday, but it's Saturday tomorrow, 11 a.m. Join me on Instagram Live. I do 1,320 push-ups. I do 22 push-ups on the minute every minute for 60 minutes. And then if you're interested in any of the programs, I work for Bedros Cooley. We're doing the project, which is a 75-hour immersive course that we put people through in Cheetah Hills, California.
Awesome.
I'm part owner with Bedros in something called LTD, where we go around and we do corporate training, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, communication. And lastly, we do, it's called the Squire program, where we take fathers and sons between the age of 12 and 16, and we do a 14-hour bonding experience with them. And I won't lie, they get I kick their ass a little bit, the boys. And we're just making a difference. So please check me out. And if you like what you're hearing, reach out. I answer every DM. And if not, I guess I'm not your cup of tea.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I got to tell you, man, this is one of my favorite ones we've done. So thank you, for your time. I know I got a lot going on, so we appreciate it.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And I'll hit you up about getting some other guys on. Boom.